Today we have with us Sabrina Janis. Sabrina is an AQHA and NSBA World Champion with a passion for the trail pin. Most recently, she was named NSBA BCF Champion in the 4 to 6 year old non pro trail aboard It Comes So Easy. Sabrina, can you tell us about what led to this win?
Welcome to Elevate Your Ride, the podcast dedicated to elevating your performance in the saddle. I'm Ellie, your personal trainer.
And I'm Lauren, your mindset coach. Today we have with us Sabrina Janis. Sabrina is an AQHA and NSBA World Champion with a passion for the trail pin. Most recently, she was named NSBA BCF Champion in the 4 to 6 year old non pro trail aboard It Comes So Easy. Sabrina, can you tell us about what led to this win?
Well, thank you for that awesome intro, and I'm super excited to be here today. So, I think that leading up to this win, we were just trying to have a very positive mindset with Goody. That's her barn name. It comes so easy. And so, I think for us, because of her age, she is only 4 years old and just being so exceptional. And she has such a lovely brain, even tempered, and just truly gifted and talented in the trail without any of our help, really, naturally talented. We just were focusing on creating a positive experience for her in such a big pen. She's only shown at the NSBA one other year. So for her, this was just another year of practice and also just having like a positive experience for both of us since we're at the beginning of our showing journey together. I just started showing her in the trails. We wanted to just go in, have a solid pattern, make it a positive experience for her, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I was able to watch this class and I saw your run. And as soon as you were done, I was grabbing the horse show tracker. I was like, that one was so good. Like, is she going to be at the top? Because it was just absolutely stunning and it looked really effortless. I've liked this mare for a long time. And like you said, she's really talented. But do you think part of what made it so effortless was because you went in there with a building mindset rather than I've got to win this mindset?
I would say so. I think that when I put unnecessary pressure on myself or my horse, that's when things tend to go awry. And I know there's like the old adage, like if you try too hard, inevitably something will go wrong or go amiss. So I wanted to keep that in the back of my brain and just not let it affect her or like our pattern because again, she is still super young, she's 4, and I mean, for as great-minded and talented as she is, we just have to be very fair in the sense that we are trying to build a great all-around horse, and so I wanted to make sure that, at the end of the day, I was fair to her and saying, "Hey, you did the best that you could, and I did the best that I could, and if, whether that was at the top of the leaderboard or not getting our name called, like, I just wanted to be proud of what we could do together." So I think that it helped that we took a bit of that pressure off and I was just going in like, okay, let's build and let's see where we are after this ride and then like the pieces that we need to work on going forward. But it ended up working out in our favor. So
Yeah, congratulations again, because it was beautiful.
So, you just had a really, really successful show, and let's talk about that. What were the ups? What were the downs? Overall, how was the show for you?
yeah, sure. So the show, I mean, I obviously I'm a little biased. It did end on a very high note. I think that we kind of had to wait till the end of the show to show that class, but I was just super excited to get to show Goody, and I think that, Jess and we've really been working with her a lot, and I actually did go and ride with them in Connecticut for about a week before we ended up going to the show, so I feel like that gave me some great preparation and rides to really, work on the pieces that I wanted to, pattern-wise and just also, like, work on, like, some other things like transitions and just kinda get with her a little bit more since I haven't been able to make it up there as much recently, but, it's also just nice to ride at home, away from the horse show kind of situation and really just, like, get down to the nitty-gritty. But, once we got to the show, it was kind of a good scenario for us because Jess actually showed her before I did, so she ended up doing pretty well in the junior. She was 3rd in the limited junior trail, so I was very proud of them for that. She actually laid down a beautiful, beautiful pattern. She had one penalty that we were joking that she was still kicking herself for, but she still ended up doing very well even with that penalty. I was super proud of them because that is a very stout junior class there. That was a great ride on their part, but I think it helped a lot that she got to show her first. She got some time to prepare her, and by the time it was my turn to show, we had really gotten the chance to ride and lunge and just go work on pieces and do what we needed to do. So for me, then I felt super comfortable, like, okay, let's go crack around the pattern and the warm up and like see what we've got. And if there's anything I need to like go back over, then I can. But I mean, again, it's like I said before, just making sure that I had the growth mindset and knowing that I couldn't put too much pressure on us to be perfect, but I just needed to go in there and try and lay down a really nice pattern and be consistent. And, Goody would hopefully take care of the rest. And so that ended up working out for us.
Yeah, you talked about running through the pattern in the warm-up pin. I don't know if everybody listening has been to NSBA, but that trail warm-up pin can be quite a zoo. How did you handle that? Did you ride in the middle of the night? Did you just kind of have patience, or how did you take her through that course in the warm-up pin?
Yeah, you're definitely right. That warm up can get a little crazy, and I think it's hard because the pen itself isn't very big. So when you're trying to get to certain obstacles, unfortunately, just the way that patterns are laid in there, normally like there's going to be a few people riding around that may get in your way as you're like headed to an obstacle or as you're trying to go through an obstacle into something else. So that is a bit hard, and I mean, especially on a young horse, you just like to minimize that for the most part so that they don't get frazzled having to go through something like 16 times before you can actually do it the way that you intended. But with her, we were kind of lucky that we timed it just right before, and we were able to practice like kind of in the, I want to say like middle evening, like kind of like getting a little bit later, but not quite in the middle of the night because we were like, okay, let's just see, we'll keep an eye on the pen, and just as things maybe dwindle down, we can hopefully get in there right as people are leaving. And it ended up working out because we were able to practice for probably about an hour, if not a little bit more. And we had the pen not to ourselves, but I mean, there was only a handful of people in there, and everyone seemed to be kind of staying out of each other's ways. So it was perfect for that because I felt like I actually got to go through each obstacle pretty solid. And, if I had questions, I'd stop and ask Jess, and we were able to chat about it for a second instead of just feeling like, okay, I'm getting rushed along from one obstacle to the next. And, Goody, she's super trustworthy and patient, but again, she's also still a young horse, and, they're going to have moments from time to time. So I was just glad that we were able to give her some continuity and consistency with the practice. So that way, we were able to get in, do what we needed to do, talk about it, or redo things if we wanted to kind of get some extra practice on certain parts. And then take her back to the stalls. Like, it was very straightforward, and I felt like that worked out for us just because it wasn't getting to the point where we were all frazzled and just not able to accomplish what we needed.
Yeah, no, that's smart to be able to watch that and stuff because it can be just a lot for them to handle. So once you had gone through the warm up pen and you had a plan, do you typically visualize your run before you go and show it and kind of give yourself some different options? Or what's your game plan mentally before stepping into the show pen?
I think for me, I would say it's like a combination. It's some visualization and like what my plan is. And then I guess a lot of it is, and a lot of trail just in general is by feel. And I think that, if I am confident and I have a good feel out in the warm up, I step into the pen with a lot better mindset of just like, okay, this is how I want to approach this. This is how I plan to go here and then go from here to here. Like, I give myself some time, especially warming up. Like, I hate feeling rushed in the warm up heading into the show pen. So I think that that was the biggest thing. Like, Jess and I had a plan of like when I needed to be up there, like how much time I needed to get her warmed up, like how much time I needed to go over poles, and just tried to strategically plan that so that in the warm up, I didn't feel like we were just rushing around, like flitting around trying to do different things. Like, we actually had some strategy there. And then that way, by the time we were getting called up the chute, it's like, okay, we're in a good spot. I'm confident. Like, I gave her, you know, every chance to get all warmed up. I'm warmed up. My brain's warmed up. Like, we're both on the same wavelength. Like, let's just go in there and do it. And I mean, it ended up working very well. And I think that, again, the trustworthiness she has as a young horse and just me being able to be a good pilot and make good decisions for her because she is so obedient, that was a big piece because knowing, like, okay, if I say go here, that's where she's going. So for me, being confident in my decision making is also a big part of it because when you have a horse that's so trustworthy and obedient, like that combination, like you have to be making good decisions because they're just following what you're telling them. So you have to be like, hey, I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing and where I'm going to put your feet. And that's that.
Yeah. As your pattern was going, and I'm sure you could feel that the obstacles were beautiful and going really well. How did you keep yourself mentally focused to finish strong and not get nervous that, oh man, this is going really good? And maybe you don't feel that way. But sometimes for me, if by the beginning my pattern goes really well, I'm like, oh no. And then I have to bring myself back in to be able to finish strong. How do you handle that situation when you felt yourself getting good marks all across the board?
I think that, it's easy to get a little overzealous when you feel like you're having a really nice pattern. And that is one of the hardest things in trail. It's like you walk that delicate balance of I'm having a great run and you're getting a little excited about it. And then you may do something that could potentially mess that up. So it's keeping that excitement contained up until you are completely done and they're finished judging you. I think that you can start making a mental note of, okay, that was really nice, or oh, I loved the way that felt, just as you're going through things. But for me, I guess it's just a slight control thing of knowing, hey, like, don't get too excited, like, don't get ahead of yourself because you can just as easily have your next obstacle go sideways or not go the way that you want. And then it could be a major penalty. Like, so just not getting ahead of yourself and also like, trail one piece at a time, working through everything with fluidity, but also just slow enough that your brain and your horse's brain can kind of mesh and really meld and be like, okay, we're on the same page. We're staying on the same page. And for me and her, I think that that is a big part of it because she is very chill and I have to be willing to say, "Hey, I'm going to slow my mindset down just a hair so that we're working at the same speed." Then each obstacle kind of comes to us a lot easier and we're able to stay on that same wavelength page. And it's like the moment you start trying to speed things up too much or slow things down way too much, that's when you kind of get discombobulated, I feel like, especially with her. And one of Jess's biggest notes to me was don't rush things. Just take it one piece at a time and don't rush her. She's like, she knows what she's doing. And as long as you're confident in your decision making, she'll follow you and she will listen. So just have some trust in that bond that you guys have built and things will go okay for you. And I think this was a great pattern. It was definitely challenging and it had a lot of really good pieces for us to work on. And we did end up working on some of them at home before we got to the show. But it was great to see it laid and just have all the different things like, different flower boxes and other things that can be distracting or spooky. Like, it's a great opportunity to put a horse like this, a 4-year-old, on this level of pattern. It was quite a lot of pattern for her and she handled it beautifully. And I'm super proud of her. It was awesome for us. By the time I made it to the end and I was moving away from my gate, I was like, wow, I am so proud of this horse. That was awesome.
Yeah, that is the best feeling. Hey, Elevate Your Ride fans. Are you loving our show and looking for a way to show your support? Check out our line of Elevate Your Ride merchandise. From stylish t shirts to cozy hoodies to journals and hats, we have everything you need to represent your favorite podcast. Ready to gear up? Click on the Buy Our Merchandise Here link in the podcast notes, or head on over to our website, elevateyourride.co, and click on the Store tab. Thank you for your support. Make sure to like, follow, and share our platform with your friends. So when you came out of the shoot and you saw Jess waiting down at the end, what was that kind of experience? What did you guys talk about? How did it feel?
I mean, I was pretty much all smiles. I think that I just like couldn't contain myself because I was just so proud of her. And at that point, I had no idea obviously how I had scored or anything. So like I was just patting her and happy and like talking to Jess. I was like, wow, that was awesome. I'm like, I'm so damn proud of her. Like, I mean, I just can't believe that, how good she was. And just like we were able to really nail a lot of the things that we were working on or maybe had a little trouble with at home. Like, so it just felt like super rewarding on both of our parts. And I think Jess has such a strong bond with this horse, and this we joke that this is Jess's horse. Truly, it's nobody else's; it's Jess's. And I mean, they just, watching them together, watching them show. I mean, it's just beautiful, and it's just a gorgeous picture every time to watch them. And so, for me to feel like I went in and maybe laid down a performance that's even half as beautiful as what I get to watch with her and Goody all the time, like I was just so proud of the mare and, all the progress that we've made and like just her being so young and, performing like that. It's just like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you guys talk about the bond that everyone has. I followed along kind of her journey on Facebook, and you can really tell that Jess does love that horse and that the 3 of you 4 of you guys get along so well, and it's really beautiful to see it kind of all playing out now and as she's growing up and really maturing and coming into her own as a performance animal, so that's so cool. Good job, team.
Thank you. I'm just so proud of Jess and Ricky. They both put so much time and effort into this horse, and it's really showing through. And I mean, she's just an exceptional animal. So I feel like it's the wonderful combination of having a great team and a great horse. We couldn't be more proud of her and them.
Yeah. So, what are your plans for the rest of the fall? Are you going to Ocala? Are you going to go to Congress and then the World Show with your crew?
So I am going to Ocala in a couple of days with my crew, Ryan and Mandy, with my horses with them. And Jess and Ricky won't be in attendance there, but they will be at the Congress. So everyone will be at the Congress, and I will be showing all three horses there. And as for the World Show, I think that we are sitting that one out just because the timing with my testing date for my licensure, I think there's a conflict there. So I will be sitting that one out. But I know that, having Ocala and then Congress, we have a pretty packed schedule. So I feel like by that point, we'll probably be ready for a little break, little breather, and then preparing for Florida in, December and going into January. So I feel like giving ourselves a little break and then, having time for Thanksgiving and the holidays, like that'll be nice as well. I'm super excited for these next two fall shows coming up. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, you guys are gonna do great. So how do you manage balancing your personal life and your horse showing life? So like you just said, you're gonna miss out on the world show this year because of, what's going on in your personal life, your work life. How do you balance all of that and not feel guilty for prioritizing one part of your life over the other? Because sometimes it flip-flops, right? So how do you manage all of that?
I do think it's hard, and I think that, for some people, depending on their personal life and their obligations and responsibilities, like certain things, horse showing wise, just have to take a back seat or you just have to take a little bit of time away to, do what you want to do, whether it's family time, job, like anything of the nature. Like, there are just going to be times when schedules conflict and things conflict, and you have to take time away. And I think as, an avid horse person and, someone who loves to compete, you do get a little FOMO. Like the fear of missing out is real, especially amongst horse show people. We're so used to go, 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 go. Like, what's the next horse show? Like, when are we going? What are we doing? So it's just easy to get a little bit like, oh man, I wish I was there, or like seeing pictures, or, hearing how well your barn family's doing, or like if your horse goes and you don't go, like, oh man, the horse is doing so great. Wish I was there. Like, really stinks. But, you know, it's just part of life. And I think that there always will be another horse show. I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's true. There always is another horse show. There's always going to be another Congress, NSBA, World Show. Like there will always be another show to attend. It is important to realize that there is a life outside of showing horses and to have that balance and to give yourself some grace and some time to make the conscious decision to say, hey, I'm not attending this horse show because I'm doing this or because we are taking a family vacation and spending quality time together, or I am attending a friend's wedding and I'm in the wedding party and it's really important that I be there. Like, these are all reasons why I haven't gone to shows, also, including work and school. Like, you sometimes have to make that hard decision and it does stink at times because, again, we are used to always looking to the next thing. But I think for me, when I have chosen to step back and not go to something, like, I look back and go, I don't know if I regret it. It's more just like I'm appreciative that I had a minute to breathe and to do something else with my time. And knowing, like, hey, now I get to look forward to the next horse show and I'm recharged and I'm excited, good mindset going forward. And, that also helps with burnout because I think there are times when we don't realize that we're trying to pour from a cup that's basically empty. And for me, it always helps when I get a moment to breathe and reorganize myself and make sure that that balance is still intact and not just tipping all the way over to Warshow land versus real life. So I think that part of it is good for me to realize when things are getting a little off kilter.
Yeah, we just released an episode about what to do when you're not having fun anymore. And everything that you said is basically sums it up perfectly of being able to have other parts of your life that you can focus on and refill your cup so that way you can come back and really remember why you love this. And like you said earlier, we do it because of the love of the horse and the love of the sport. Competition is fantastic, but really, truly, at the end of the day, we do it because we love our horses.
That's very true, and I think that, it brings back a specific time. I think it was, like, 2 years ago, and Tim, my fiancé, and I are best friends. We're getting married. It's funny, we're actually really close friends, and 2 of our best friends were getting married, and we were in the wedding, and coincidentally, the wedding fell on the exact days that I would be showing amateur trail and western riding and the other classes, and, it was just unfortunate that the schedules kind of clashed like that, but I did end up, deciding, hey, like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Our best friends are getting married. Like, we have to be there. Like, this is, a non negotiable thing. And I remember a few people commenting, like, wow, like, you guys aren't going to Congress. Like, you're absolutely not going. Like, you can't make this work at all. And I was like, unfortunately not. Like, I have to be in this wedding. Like, this is super, super important. Like, I mean, this is someone who's like family to me and to Tim. And like, their wedding, their union was super important for us to be there, and it was just the absolute best time, and we love them to death. They're great, great friends of ours, and they will actually be in our upcoming wedding next year, but, it's just that part for me was like, "Okay, I understand how someone be like, 'Wow, you really can't go,' but at the same time, I'm like, in this instance, there was something more important than Congress. It was my friend's wedding, and I had to be there, and I'm we're like, okay, there will be another horse show after this, and there will be another Congress next year. So to take that time away for that situation, like, I don't regret it for a second because I know that was where we needed to be at that point in time. And, it's moments like that that people are like, well, you really couldn't make it work or you really couldn't like have left and then come to the Congress. Like, no, like we had to be there and that was where we were meant to be at that time. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm proud of you for being able to make that decision and that you were able to build those memories with all of them.
yeah, it was a very, very fun time, and I'm so excited for our upcoming wedding so we can have another fun, super memorable experience with them.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Now they can be on your end of it, and, oh, what a cool deal. Is your wedding gonna fall on any horse shows, or did you plan it around it?
So, you sound like you know what I'm about to say. So, really did plan around horse showing just a bit, considering that, quite a few trainers and horse show folk will be in attendance. So I wanted to be a bit mindful of like the major horse show schedule because I know that it's asking people to step away from their livelihood and potential money that they can be making. So I was trying to be mindful and aware of that and also just, with our families and schedules and everything. So we are actually getting married August 31st of next year, 2025. So thankfully, we planned it and our venue had the availability for a date that did not conflict with any major horse shows or, things that people needed to be away for. So it's working out so far at least.
Oh, that's great. That's gonna be such a beautiful day for you guys. Are you looking for that extra competitive edge, struggling with show pin anxiety, or looking to set and achieve meaningful goals with your horse? Schedule a session with me, Lauren, your dedicated mindset coach. As an experienced competitor, I understand the mental demands required to excel at the highest level, and I'm here to support you in building a plan to help you stay accountable and reaching those goals. For more information, check out laurencervelli.com or click on the website link in our show notes. Let's work together to elevate your ride. So, what advice do you have for anybody who is trying to juggle that decision of doing something with either family or close friends versus going to a major event and they're kind of torn between what they should do?
I think that it's just weighing the situation and who it involves or what it involves against the importance of the horse show, the experience, the expense, travel, all of that. Like, you have to take everything into account. Like, obviously, not everyone's situations are the same as mine or what they have to consider versus me. Like, so I think that consideration is a big piece of what you ultimately decide. And for me, I've been very blessed with my family and my fiance, and just the way that we recently have been able to travel and to get to see certain things and enjoy different culture and be able to learn a lot of history and fun things. Like, I've been very lucky that my parents, kind of caught the travel bug and they want to do fun, enriching things like that with us and just like my family. So, I think that sometimes it's just saying, hey, like, what is the importance of this horse show and like what are we hoping to accomplish here and like, how long would we be gone and just like what the situation is going to end up being, and is it worth it to go to this horse show or is it worth it to have a memorable family experience or memorable experience with your partner or certain things like that wedding that there was no changing the day of their wedding. So I had to ask myself, okay, there is Congress next year, but there is not another wedding of theirs. So I had to really sit there and go, okay, as much as I love showing and I'm an avid horse person, I can't do this. I have to be there. It is so important to both of us. And it was such a lovely day for them. But, just the level of importance of the trip or the event or thing that you're planning on doing was stepping away from horse show. I think that's where you have to balance and say, okay, I'm looking at the importance of each thing and like what I really am hoping to gain or accomplish from each thing. Like, horse show, personal life, personal development, career development, work, personal life, family life. There are times when that is going to be slightly more important than the horse show. And knowing that, hey, not going to the horse show doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just like, hey, there's going to be another horse show. It's okay to step away for a second because even though we are such a go, go, go community, taking a little breather and stepping away for the right reasons, that's not bad by any means. It's healthy. And it means that you have other important commitments in life obligations outside of just showing horses, which is wonderful and what everyone should have to keep that balance and to sort of keep themselves ready to come back and show and be energized and refreshed.
Yeah, that is so well put. Those are really, really good points that somebody can take and kind of apply to whatever their situation is. And like you said, there's always another horse show.
For sure. And that mentality has, again, it's another thing that I've really had to work on. And as a kid, especially, a youth showing the 14 through 18, like, horse shows, it was just a lot of what I did, if not all of what I did. So the go, 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 like show, show, show mindset, like, I was in online school throughout high school, so I was able to truly go, 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 show, show, show all the time. Like, that was my life, and I would, go stay with trainers for months, and we would go travel and go to one horse show and then the next horse show and then to big horse shows. Like, so it just was kind of like that was my reality for a lot of growing up. It was super fun and it built a lot of great pieces in my career and, my life, but also since I have been there, done that, I do think that as an amateur now, I get to take a moment and go, hey, pause. What is the importance of this horse show and what are we trying to accomplish? Is it something that we absolutely have to do? Or can we sit this one out and do something for ourselves or for our family or, another experience that is enriching in a different way in a different facet of life? I think that mindset was developed over time, especially as a youth, having done so much showing and going down the road. Now, as an amateur and a young adult in my 20s, I'm able to hit the pause button a little bit more and say, let's be strategic about this. And if it's not constructive to go to this horse show and not worth our time and our money and everything in the hauling, let's sit this one out. And maybe it's easier for me to focus on other things. And then I can go ride at home and get some more practice in and take lessons. Like, so having that foresight now that I didn't necessarily always have before when I was younger and showing so much, it's great because I can find a better balance than I probably had as a youth, and I also have a better mindset knowing not every horse show is going to go perfectly, and you're not gonna be a winner every single time, and that's okay because it's a building process. It's not about being the champion every single time you show.
Yeah, so well put. That's very similar to kind of the path that I took from transitioning from a youth to an amateur and now as a older amateur. I feel like
It's
it.
I
So
you do with the showmanship. I mean, I'd be clicking my heels. I could not run like that. You'd put me to shame.
oh, I go run around the lake to try to keep up with that. But it really, honestly, spending time as an amateur and not having kind of that looming, oh, it's the end of my youth career and knowing like, okay, I can take a step back or I can skip this horse show has really taken a lot of the pressure off and brought back a lot of the joy of being able just to appreciate each run for what it is. And if it doesn't go great, well, we've got another horse show and we have something to work on, which that's part of the excitement is having something to work on.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I'm very, very lucky, especially where Tim and I live right now. We are about, 35, 40 minutes from Mandy and Ryan's place. This is the closest I've ever been to my horses probably in my life. And so to have that is a big blessing. And it's super nice that I get to put in more hours in practice, when we are home and able to go do lessons and everything. But I mean, I think that piece has been awesome. And also just now that I'm showing more with Jess and Ricky and showing Goody in the trail, I think that, I've made more of a conscious effort. We're sort of always balancing like the show schedule of, Mandy and Ryan to the show schedule of Jess and Ricky and just trying to make sure that I'm giving equal parts time to the horses with one and the horses with the other. Like, and just trying to work through that the best that I can. And again, it's also what's best for me and the horses. Like, there are times when I'm going to shows with Jess and Ricky that Ryan and Mandy are at home. And, that's the fine line of like, okay, I need to take some time to develop and work on my relationship with those horses. And then other times it's when I'm sitting out of stuff with Jess and Ricky and then working on things with Ryan and Mandy and those horses. Like, I mean, that's kind of like a fine line there of just like how we work through things and like, the show schedules aren't always identical. So it's just picking and choosing what we need to do and what we want to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about because you have excelled so much in the trail, what it takes to mentally to be a great trail rider?
Sure. So I think from my personal experiences in the trail and just the success that I've had with different horses, I believe that, being successful in the trail again, it's a process and I think that you're never truly the master of trail itself. It's one of those classes that we always joke that you can be a zero or a hero. Like, there are days when you will come out and go, "Wow, I really nailed that." Like, I felt like I really had great spots and my horse was listening and I was transitioning well and like everything had a great cadence, and then other days you're like, "Well, I have a lot to work on. Let me go back to the drawing board with this." But I do think that I've been very blessed over the years to have some horses that have really solidified my love of trail, but it was the first class that I learned when I started riding. So I think that that was a solid foundation for me to start with. And that definitely instilled a lot of the like trail mindset in me from very early age. I probably started showing trail when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So for me, I really started with all the like foundational pieces of trail, like how to work a box, how to work a gate, like doing an L back through, like so those things for me, that was where I started, and then I built off of those pieces, which I think in the long term has really helped me because I've seen how trail has evolved a little bit, how our patterns have changed, but also it's helped me with my mindset of like, okay, now that trail patterns are becoming more and more challenging, I can build myself a little bit more and build off of that foundational knowledge even more than I already have. Like, you're just never done learning about trail and really just perfecting and crafting those pieces with those horses because truthfully, trail itself can be different horse to horse. I mean, your approaches may be different from each horse that you show. Some horses you have one A approach, and then other horses it needs to be C approach because not every horse can just go into the pattern and do it exactly the same. That's part of the fun of trail, I would say, is that it's always a different pattern, it's different challenges, it's different things that you have to try and wrap your brain around.
Yeah, definitely. You have a couple horses that you're gonna be showing this fall. Do they all kind of have the same approach, or are these ones pretty different from each other?
Well, I think starting with Goody, I would say she's like probably the outlier in just a sense that she is with my trainer Jessica and Ricky Noiseau. So their approach to trail is slightly different than my other two trainers, Mandy Gately and Ryan Cottingham. So I think that just having two different trainers, there's going to be some just slight differences in the way that they train and the way they coach. But I do think starting with Goody and looking at how I've been sort of bonding and learning to ride her and show her, she is one of those horses that you can trust pretty much 100% when you go in the show pen. She is such a trustworthy animal. And I'm very lucky that as I've been building my relationship with her, I'm able to put the patterns that I want down when I want to. And I think that that's such a big piece because being able to trust the horse you have, going from the warm up into the show pen is a huge deal in the trail because if they start to change, then your game plan has to change within split seconds, especially as you're doing things. But with her, she has that trustworthiness even as a 4-year-old that we absolutely love in a pattern class because you know what you have underneath you. And it's just absolutely lovely. Even as a young horse, you don't really expect that mentality. And she just has proven that you can trust her all the time, every single day that you pull her out. So for me, that's great because I've had some other horses that will change between the warm up and the show pen. And so you have to anticipate those changes and sort of make some changes to your plan once you're actually in the show pen. Whereas with her, my game plan out in the warm up is the same as it is in the show pen. Like it does not change at all. So, the trustworthiness piece is huge. And the other horses that I show with Ryan and Mandy, I just recently acquired two new geldings, Sleeping in the Stands and then Rumors in the Dark. And their barn names are Sam and Ernie. And so our relationship's pretty fresh, pretty new. My first show with them will be in Ocala here in a couple days. But after riding both of them, I think just due to the fact that they're senior horses and they've been there, done that, they do have a bit of a different mentality. I mean, of course, the trustworthiness is there, but I also think that it's exciting for me because not only am I getting to build the trail with them, but I also get to add a bit of stylistic finesse to it. Like I think that trustworthiness as senior horses and knowing that they are able to go in and do their job 9 times out of 10, that it gives me some freedom to be like, okay, how can I really show my patterns and how can I really make this fancy and make this super visually appealing and also credit earning? So that's very exciting for me. I'm just ecstatic to be able to go into this fall season with these two and going into next year. It's a super fun prospect with both of them.
Hi, everyone. It's your personal trainer, Ellie. If you're looking to become a stronger, more balanced, and flexible rider, I'm here to help. I offer virtual personal training sessions and customized workout plans that you can complete on your own. As a fellow competitor, I understand the physical demands riding requires, and my goal is to help you perform your best for your horse, whether you're preparing for a show or just want to improve your everyday rides. Visit lopindowntherailfitness.com or click on my website tab in the notes of this podcast episode to learn more. Let's work together to elevate your ride.
Yeah, definitely. Can you tell us a little bit about what you mean when you say adding style and kind of different expression? What does that mean to you, and what do you try to do differently with them than you would with your young horse?
Sure. I think that adding that stylistic flair or just that fanciness, for me, I guess I've been taught that that is a confidence level that you have to have with your animals to be able to do that. I think there are maybe a fancier, more stylistic approach to certain obstacles that you can take. And then there's also maybe the safer, more conservative approach to certain obstacles. And it really just comes down to knowing your horse and knowing what you have that day, because there are some days when even on the brokest of animals and the quietest of animals that you may choose to do a conservative approach, because even if it's not as credit earning, you know that it may set you up better for the next obstacle or for the rest of the pattern. And then there are days when every obstacle is going to be the fanciest, coolest thing that you've ever done, and you're just going to show the heck out of it. But I think that for me, I definitely have a bit more of that confidence and trust with those senior level horses and the ones that really truly know their job, and that I feel like I'm going to go in there, put my hand down, and really show as much as I can. And, adding a stylistic piece or adding something to make, your pattern a bit fancier, more credit earning, it is a definite test of trust in your confidence level of, being able to be counting as you're going through that obstacle and be confident of where you're putting your horse's feet and confident of that your plan is really what's going to work. And, sometimes unfortunately it doesn't, like go big or go home. Like the trail, there are days where you can be doing absolutely everything right. And then inevitably something may go sideways. And, that is the risk that you take trying to make your pattern a bit more fancy or, a bit more flashy to the judges. But I mean, I think that when you have a horse that you truly trust underneath of you, it's worth the risk. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you handle if maybe one obstacle doesn't go exactly as planned for you? Do you automatically go to schooling or do you carry on? And how do you make that decision?
I think that it is a definite case by case basis on schooling versus not schooling and like how you handle that. It's like an example for me is one of those things that in the moment, I guess I have to question where we are in the pattern, why that just happened, if there's a why, or like if I can sort of backtrack and go, okay, maybe I didn't pick the best spot, or maybe my horse wasn't listening to the best of their ability, or like just trying to do a quick little inventory of what just happened. And for me, it has to happen fairly quickly, considering that trail patterns aren't all that long to begin with. It's, 2.5, 3 minute patterns at the larger shows. So you have to think sort of quickly and on your feet. But I try to do a quick little mental inventory of what just happened before I make the big decision of like, oh, am I just going to school or am I going to carry on and see how I can recover from this wherever it occurred in the pattern? So, I mean, it is not like every single time something happens that I feel like I need to school, but there are times when I do feel it is constructive, especially if it's a horse show where I feel like, okay, I have maybe another chance to show, or I have time to sort of work on this piece and then show it off again and see how it works for me. So, like, I always like to make sure that if I do make the decision to school a horse, like, it's for a constructive reason. It's not just schooling to school, because, I want every horse show to have certain goals and things that we're trying to accomplish, like always trying to move forward, always trying to feel like we had a very productive experience overall.
So it sounds like your mindset kind of has to be ever evolving, right? Like sometimes you have to be ready to go all out. Sometimes you have to be ready to be conservative. Sometimes you have to be ready to school. How have you developed that mindset over the years to go off of what your horse is giving you that day? Has that been challenging for you? What has that been like?
I think that for myself and just, the different horses that I've shown and different trainers that I've been with, it's been a mindset that I've had to develop piece by piece. There are days that sometimes it's very hard to have that well rounded, even minded mindset, because there are days when frustration will take over for a moment and you have to sit there and really pick apart what went right, what went wrong, why you're frustrated, why maybe your horse wasn't prepared or was prepared, but still things may have gone a little sideways. Like you kind of have to have that analytical mindset, I guess you could say, because trail is truly obstacle by obstacle. And if you are having trouble putting them all together to make the bigger picture, it's like, okay, well, what are the whys behind that? It's similar to like a horsemanship pattern or the Western riding. Everything should be, maneuver by maneuver, obstacle by obstacle. Like you have to take it one step at a time. And I think that for me, there are moments when I definitely get ahead of myself, or I can potentially get behind, or, my horse gets ahead of me and we're just not on the same page. Like what happens to everyone, especially showing classes that are challenging like these. But to develop that mindset and to be able to say, okay, things didn't go quite like I planned today, but here's what I did to recover. Here's what I did like, and here's what I didn't like. And then let's talk about how we can fix that, or how maybe we can prepare our horse better, or however you feel like you need to handle that going forward. But it's taken me a while. And I think that each horse that I've shown has really been an integral part of that process, just because every horse is going to give you something that you need to learn, or something that you can improve on, or things that maybe they have talents or strengths that, one horse has and the other doesn't. Like, you have to learn to really pull from those strengths and those talents on one horse, and then another horse, it's like, okay, we're trying to develop these strengths and talents inside them. You have to recognize what each horse can do, and also what they're going to be able to teach you. Like, been very blessed. My show horse Speedy, aka Cruz, he has given me so much and has truly made my career. I am in debt to him for the rest of my life. He is just one of the most incredible animals ever. But he has taught me so much about actually being a showman and learning how to truly go in there and lay down some of the best patterns of my life. That kind of horse has just set the bar for me. So, like, I think that with other horses, I've had some very talented trail horses to show that there are certain things that I pull from him that I say, okay, this is a Speedy level quality, and I would love to see this, young horse or other horses that I'm showing have that, or resonate to have that similar quality, or try to develop that with them. And so I think having ones like him and other exceptional horses that I've gotten to show, like, I start pulling out those truly great qualities that I am in love with and say, okay, how do I cultivate this in other horses, and how do I encourage this as much as possible?
How did you develop that kind of let's build a horse mentality? Has that always been your kind of thought process with show horses, or is that something you've kind of come along with as your amateur career has progressed?
I think that mindset has definitely taken a while for me to develop personally. I know that as time has passed and I've shown many different horses, I've had to become more of a well-rounded rider, and also have a more well-rounded mindset overall, and just be able to create some more patience within myself to realize that the great ones do take time. And I think that when you're starting them from a younger age and not just getting a middle-aged or super senior type horse, you do have to wait on them to mature, because truly we are starting horses pretty young. And so it's not crazy to think, okay, you have to give them a couple of years. Like, horses truly aren't done maturing till about 5 or 6. And sometimes even it takes a little longer. I just have had to learn through experience and through different horses, and, showing experiences, that sometimes to have that truly rock solid, steady Eddie senior type horse, it takes those first couple years. And it's hard because it's a waiting game and you really have to be committed to the process. But it does pay off. And especially when you have a horse as exceptional as Goody, like, I mean, she's just shown us time and time again that she has the mindset of a senior horse in a young horse's body. So it's really exciting to see that show through, especially at a time like NSBA. But I mean, it was one of those moments where it was like a culmination of my trainer's hard work with her, and all the times that she's gone into the pen just to build pieces with her, and also me taking the time to really get with her and get to know her, so that, it ended up working out at the right time. But I mean, truthfully, some of these young horses, if they have the right mindset and you know that you want to create that longevity with them, I think it just takes that patience and knowing that you're trying to build a senior horse and you want longevity.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And I appreciate that you can take that into her because she's going to be amazing.
What does it take to be a good showman?
Oh, that is a big question.
It is.
So I think that being a good showman is really, it goes hand in hand with also being a good person and being a good sport. The more that I have become a well rounded person in my life outside of horses, and also cultivated myself educationally, personally, everything, the more that I've been able to really look at things objectively within my showing career, knowing that life goes on and there's always another horse show, and trying to make yourself be the most well-rounded and goal-oriented version is what's most helpful to me. Because when you are constantly putting this pressure on yourself and constantly thinking, okay, I need to do better, or I can be better than this. How to compare yourself to people that you see constantly achieving, it's just hard. And I think that for me, the more that I focused on personal growth and being well rounded and having goals in all areas of my life to push myself and to sort of say, okay, I know that I can do this. And I know that, showing horses or anything else, it takes time and it's a building process. And sometimes it's like two steps forward, one step back. But having that confidence to say, okay, I've done it before, I can do it again. And knowing that each horse and each situation is going to provide different, fun parts and challenges. Like I know for me, showing horses has given me everything in life. I've gained friends that are like family. I'm very blessed that my mom and I do this together. She's one of my biggest supporters. And, I think that the competitive nature that I have, I've built off of that so that it's not just competitiveness, it's becoming a horsewoman and truly doing this for the love of the horse and knowing that that's the pinnacle of all of it. And for me, I love the competition. Don't get me wrong, I'm a competitor at heart, but for me, it is based off of the welfare and the love of the horse. And I mean, it's become my career. I went to school for veterinary technology and I'm taking my vet tech boards this November. So
Ooh,
super
good
excited
luck.
about that, but so it's bled over into my career as well. It's what inspired me to get into veterinary medicine. So you can say it kind of has, bloomed for my whole life.
I love how you say that you do it for the love of the horse, and that's so cool that you're going to go into veterinary science and everything. What encouraged you to start down the growth mindset path and to be able to do the growth mindset outside of horses as well?
I think that going into like a science degree or, for example, me, veterinary science, veterinary technology, I think that you have to be a constant student and want to learn and always have the mindset of like, okay, I have learned a lot today, but I also know that I will learn more and that potentially this knowledge that I acquired today is just a building block. It's not an end all be all. And I think that constant student, constant learner mindset, it makes a growth mindset. If you're constantly having to improve or add on to knowledge and things that you've stored in your brain in the past, like, you're never saying, oh, okay, I'm just done now. Like, especially in my field, like in, veterinary medicine, you're always learning better technique. You're always learning new research, new statistics, different things, that you can kind of add in to how you do your profession and how you practice. And for me as a tech going into getting my licensure, I always want to make sure that I keep my mind open and ready to learn and ready to add to my prior knowledge because without that, I'm not providing the highest level of care to patients. That is the whole highlight of being in veterinary medicine, providing a very high level of care to patients and always keeping up your knowledge and keeping up your technique. And so I think that was inspired in school. For me, it was always like, okay, how can I build? How can I add on to this? How can I ask the right questions? So the growth mindset with horses, I feel like it is mirrored. It's very similar. Like, you can lay down one of the best patterns ever, and you may rewatch the video a few months later and say, hey, I absolutely love that. I still love the pattern, but here's a few things that I think we can work on and still even make better. It's not that you're unsatisfied. It's just that the growth mindset encourages you to want to always be a little bit better or work a little bit harder, acquire some more knowledge. Like it's not saying, oh, I'm unsatisfied with what I did or how we performed, but you're just always looking to add on to what you can and to acquire more knowledge. There's a way to do that in a positive mindset and not say, oh my gosh, I really feel like this and this and this could have been better. You can say that, but it's how you frame it. And especially in your self talk, like how you say that to yourself and others, like making it a positive thing and not a negative thing always.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point about saying how your chosen profession mirrors kind of the show environment because you're always looking for a solution, which is probably leads into bringing these young horses along too, right? It's not just whatever's presented in front of you is the way it's going to be forever. You can say, okay, what's the solution to get through this problem? And then your mind is constantly looking for an answer rather than feeling defeated if something doesn't go 100% right. So that's really cool that you've been able to kind of see how both of them kind of go hand in hand, and how developing one skill outside the arena has helped you in the arena as well. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, all linked in the podcast notes. We'll see you next time. The information provided by Elevate Your Ride is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical or professional advice. While we discuss health and fitness topics related to equestrians, the content provided through this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. The views expressed by the host and guests on Elevate Your Ride are their own and should not be taken as professional guidance. We strive to provide accurate and up to date information, but we cannot guarantee that the information will be applicable to every individual listener or that it reflects the most current research or guidelines. Before making any changes to your health and fitness routine, we strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional who can provide personalized advice based on your individual needs and circumstances. Elevate Your Ride and its creators will not be liable for any direct, indirect, consequential, special, exemplary, or other damages arising from the use of information on this podcast. Thank you for listening to Elevate Your Ride. We are committed to providing high quality content and appreciate your trust in us as a source of information for your health and fitness journey.